Today on Centennial Sports Central, the most anticipated restricted free agent has signed. We'll tell you where and for how much. And as NHL training camps open, we'll let you know who remains unsigned.
Meanwhile, across the pond, the Canadian Paraswimming team made a splash in London, bringing home their biggest medal haul ever. And the wait is over. The UEFA Champions League is back in action. We'll tell you the 5 things you need to know about the competition.
And for all you gamblers out there, Centennial Sports sits down with the big guns at Sportsnet to tell you who to take in your NFL Pick'em pool for Week 3.
Hello everyone and welcome to Centennial Sports Central. I'm your host Karan Saini alongside my co-host Jamie Branje. We've got plenty of sporting action to bring you this week. The NFL week is underway and like everybody, we are affected by Fantasy League. Jamie, how was your Fantasy League?
My fantasy leagues this week did not go very well. They did not go according to plan. I had a loss in both of the leagues that I'm playing in, including a terrible showing in our Centennial Sports program fantasy league. So that did not go very well. I really got to try and find a way to rope myself back in. But as they say, it's a long season. Anything can happen. So I've still got some high hopes.
All right.
And moving on to the NHL talk. With the 2019-2020 preseason kicking off on Sunday, teams are beginning to figure out what their roster will look like ahead of this season. Navigating the RFA situation has become difficult for some franchises in recent off seasons, and the Toronto Maple Leafs know firsthand how ugly it can get after last year. Mitch Marner's contract negotiations have been a hot topic the past few weeks, but our Brandon Cameron has a long-needed update.
This past weekend, one of the biggest restricted free agents of the 2019 class has signed. Toronto Maple Leafs winger Mitch Marner signed a 6-year, $65 million contract extension with the team. One of the biggest narratives over the summer in the world of hockey was who would be the first restricted free agent off the board to set the price for the others. If their teams were hoping for a deal that would see their stars agree to team-friendly contracts, they would not be happy with the Marner deal. Marner's new contract makes him the 2nd highest paid winger in the league and the 7th highest in the entire NHL. The negotiations between the Leafs and Marner were starting to look ugly at the beginning of last week, highlighted by the news that Marner and his camp had turned down a 7-year, $77 million contract offer from the Leafs. According to TSN's Darren Dreger, Marner was seeking a shorter-term deal that could allow him to make even more money when the contract was up. To counter that, the Leafs were insistent that if they were going to sign Marner to big-time money, they needed it to be long-term. It was critical for the Maple Leafs to have Marner signed and in camp as soon as possible. After the William Nylander debacle from last year, the Leafs cannot afford to waste another year with their big names not in the lineup.
We're just happy to be here. We've missed no games, and that's really the objective. We had a situation last year that did take long, and we're thrilled to be here. Obviously, he wanted to be here, and we got it done.
With their 3 key players finally under new contracts, the Maple Leafs look to take the next step this season and make some noise in the playoffs. Brandon Cameron, Centennial Sports, Toronto.
With Marner and the Boston Bruins' Charlie McAvoy locked up over the weekend, the goal for everyone else is to start getting their young stars locked up. The top player still unsigned is Tampa Bay's Braden Point, who put up a sterling 92 points with 41 goals last season, including a league-leading 20 power play goals. The diciest position for a team is the Winnipeg Jets, who have yet to sign Kyle Connor and Patrick Laine. Connor is on the top line, coming off back-to-back seasons with over 30 goals, while Laine was an all-star in the 2017 season. With the regular season just 2 weeks away, the clock is ticking to settle on a new deal.
Like Mitch Marner, the Canadian Paraswimming team is making a buzz across the country. As the team had a successful event in London, lots of medals, lots of personal bests, and some even booked their tickets to the Tokyo 2020 Paralympics. Our team of reporters was in London to cover the event.
Welcome inside the Olympic Aquatic Center for what will be the final installment of the Daily Recap Show. Tom Stewart, happy to be joined by Gord Brown, Marcus Rebello, Pete Perkowski. Fellas, 14 medals in 7 days, an absolutely incredible meet for the Canadian swim team. Pete Perkowski, you watched that final race, the 400 relay, Orly Rivard. I mean, what more is there to say?
I ran out of words yesterday. It was incredible, it was amazing, it was stupendous, it was spectacular. Takes Canada from 7th when she takes over the relay in the 3rd leg, puts them in 1st. After in 100 meters, hands it off to Tess Real to bring it home. Real does the job. That swim from Rivard was just simply incredible. without that swim, they're not on the podium today.
Coming from behind once again.
Unbelievable stuff. We'll get to that swim of the week a little later. I don't want to tell too much to the folks here at home. But another member of that 400 relay team, Katarina Roxon, picks up a big medal today. Marcus, what did you see from her performance in the pool today?
She was waiting all week for this day. She told me she was a little bit nervous, but it sort of felt like a vacation all week, and her roommate said that. But finally secures her place in Tokyo in the SB8 100-meter breaststroke. That's off her back. And also now she gets a bronze medal, helps Canada. Fantastic swim. So to cap off her time in London, not very active, but with 2 medals, is a great way to end it, and it's a great way to cap off Canada's run.
Absolutely. And speaking about medals, it's tough to mention medals and CHP not in the same sentence. 6 of 18 competitors Mike Thompson sent to this meet. You talked to them all week. I mean, what does that say about that program, Gord?
Well, it's honestly stupendous. 7 out of 13 individual medals coming from the High Performance Training Center in Quebec. Honestly, there's not much you can ask for, especially from a team comprised of 6 of those individual swimmers.
Unbelievable stuff. So let's jump into our award show here. We've all, after the race, kind of compiled ourselves, voted on who we thought was our MVP, best swimmer, breakout swimmer, that type of thing. So let's go to our MVP. Obviously, unanimous decision, Aurélie Rivard. Tough to give it to anyone else. Medaled in every single event that she was in. Pete, I mean, you've already mentioned everything you can about this girl, but MVP, easy decision?
Of course, Canada had 2 gold medals in this entire meet. They were both from Rivard. There's really no question. 5 medals overall. And it's not just the fact that she swam and won, it's how she did it, the comebacks in the relay, as well as, 100-meter breaststroke just for fun. Yep. She still picks up a bronze. And then the 100-meter freestyle, which was an expected result, but considering that she collapsed on the pool deck the night before, we didn't know if she was going to be ready to go. She turns that around, completely unfazed, wins the gold in the 100. It wasn't just about what she did in the pool, it was everything she put together.
Yeah, an easy decision for MVP. Now let's move over to performance of the week from the women's side. Another unanimous decision from us, Tess Rutliff. I mean, you watched her all week, Marcus. We talked a lot about the nervousness. Mike Thompson, obviously, we mentioned a few times, mentioned the nervousness, but when she was on those blocks, she looked cool, calm, and collected. I mean, what can you say about her?
Well, the key word is all week, right? It seemed like we saw her every single day. Finally, after she was done, she said she was so exhausted. Just to see her compete and finish that last 100 meters strong, I think, to me, that's the defining moment. I know it's fresh on everyone's mind. It was the last swim of the entire event, but to just see her compete after all the events she competed in, all the stress of trying to qualify for Tokyo, being this is the last major meet to do so, I just thought it was phenomenal to see, and just the poise. And she also, by Mike Thompson's account, leads inside and outside the pool as well, just like Rivard.
And she swam one event in every stroke, and an IM and a relay. You do not see that very often, showing just how well-rounded a swimmer she is.
Yeah, a busy week would be probably the understatement of the week for Tess Rutliff. Let's move on to the men's side. Alec Elliott, the obvious choice, was all over the final heats all week. It took a while to break out, but broke out in a big way. Multi-medals for him. And our breakout swimmer of the week was Ali Van Wyck Smart. An incredible showing from her, multi-medals, punches her ticket to the Tokyo Games. An amazing swim from her. So let's go on to our swims of the week. Real quickly here, Pete. An easy decision for you as well.
Yeah, I'm going with Tess Rutliff in the 200 IM. She breaks her own national record by over 3 seconds, which is just absolutely unheard of. We thought she was a good shot at a bronze medal. She almost had the silver in that one. That caught a lot of people by surprise. She swam absolutely incredibly well. She admitted that she was even tired. This was later in the week. After everything she'd gone through, she still steps up and smashes that time. It was incredible to watch. There was no question that was the best swim.
And Gord, I mean, you mentioned it off the top already. What was the best swim for you this week?
The 400-meter freestyle relay, without a doubt. Aurélie Rivard coming from behind for a second time to deliver Canada medal. Unfortunately, the first one didn't happen. They got the 4th place, but now a bronze to show for it.
Unbelievable stuff. And we've mentioned everything. We've gone through the swims. Canada, again, 14 medals, an unbelievable showing. Multiple swimmers will be taking part in the 2020 Games in Tokyo. And hopefully the 4 of us will be there to cover it and bring you guys all the more Paralympic stuff. So from Tom Stewart, Marcus Rebello, Gord Brown, Pete Burkowski, we're going home.
The NFL season is now 2 weeks in, and a lot of storylines have emerged out of the league. For the fans of the sport, the fantasy players, and the gamblers. Unfortunately, the Monday of Doom brought many disastrous injuries to some playoff hopefuls this season. But as we all know, the show must go on. Our Wesley Chang is joined by a few special guests in studio to discuss the week that was and the week ahead for the NFL.
We're live here in the Sportsnet Digital Studios. I'm joined alongside Donovan Bennett and Jeff Lowe, Sportsnet NFL analysts. So obviously a lot of action in the first 2 weeks of the NFL. Let's dive straight into it and hear early reactions and betting previews going into week 3. Jeff, hit us off the top. What was the one big storyline that you think is going to have a big impact on the betting lines?
For me, it's quarterback injuries. Week 2 was filled with them. We saw Big Ben go down with an injury. He's done for the year. So that's going to impact the Steelers going to Seattle. That's now, or sorry, they're going to San Fran, and that's now a touchdown. And then Drew Brees, obviously out 5 to 6 weeks. That's huge for the Saints, who are an NFC contender now. And now they have Teddy Bridgewater, and that's 5 in Seattle now, a 5-point spread in favor of Seattle. So that's a big impact. And then the Jets. The Jets have just been dummied by quarterback injuries, and now Trevor Siemian's out for the year, and that's a 22.5-point spread on the road against the Patriots. So that's having a big impact on the lines.
Yeah, in a year we talked about having so much quarterback depth. All of a sudden,
it's gone.
Everybody's falling, dropping like flies.
Yep.
All right, Donovan, how about you? What's the biggest news that you feel from week 2 is going to impact?
As usual, he stole my answer because he cheats off my paper.
Well, I was asked first, so
it's true. I would have said quarterback depth. And by the way, and this is totally off the rails, but we have all these quarterbacks going down like flies. We have guys who are playing who we've never heard of.
It's true.
And Kaepernick still can't get a workout?
Yeah.
Amen.
What are we doing here?
But incredibly troubling.
Yeah, but I will stop filibustering and answering your question. For me, it is the laundry, the logos, the nostalgia people have around their teams and what they expect. And this is what I mean. If people watch this show and they looked at us, they'd say, I'm wearing a hoodie, I kind of look like a bum. You've got your Banana Republic outfit on, your shoes from Brown Shoes. You look like the professional, and I look like the student. But in fact, I am gainfully employed in the industry, and you soon will be my boss, but you soon will hopefully be in the industry. So people get things confused. When we look at the Steelers, we look at the logo, we're like, okay, that's a name, a brand I can trust. The Steelers aren't the Steelers anymore. They're known for defense, or defense sucks. They're known for the 3 big Bs, they're all gone. So people still have confidence in that brand when ultimately they're not that good when you look at their 2 deep. The 49ers have been down for a while. But Shanahan is a young coach, he's on the rise. Jimmy G is dating hot people and not throwing 5 straight interceptions. They're actually much better. So I look at a line like that and think, if we're just looking at the teams, we should like the Niners much more. But people love the public teams. They love the teams they understand, the jerseys that they trust, and they bet based on the laundry and not the actual games.
So you're saying you're going to take those, I guess, biases people have, and you're going to try to bet against that and make some cash off that.
Exactly, yeah. The smart money is with the teams who are performing well, not the teams who historically have been good or have stars that we know. I'll give you another example, the Packers.
Sir.
Aaron Rodgers. Best QB of the generation. They're going to have a great offense. He's learning a new offense. They can't really trust their running backs in that situation. He's reading plays off a card. This is where we are with Aaron Rodgers. In the last 10 years, he's 500. He's 50-50 in terms of games started. The Packers aren't that good anymore, but we trust them because we love Aaron Rodgers, we love his commercials, and we love his ability to fling it from Hail Marys, but they're not that good. So yeah, I like the teams who actually perform well, not who I have memories of performing well in terms of betting.
Hey, that's a great point, and that's how you find value, right, in the lines. So I'm going to give you the last word. I'm going to go to Jeff first. Jeff, in this next segment, we're going to talk about our bronze, our silver, and our gold picks going into week 3.
Sure.
So looking ahead at the lines, what are some of the bets that you want to take advantage of right now?
So
That's a steal answer.
well, again, I'm going first, so you pick second. I'm going to take your advice for the bronze, Donovan, and I'm going to go with the 49ers by a touchdown at home against the banged-up Steelers. I like what the 49ers are doing. Their offense is running really well now under Kyle Shanahan, and the Steelers, like I said, no Big Ben. The defense is bad. So that's a bronze for me. Silver, I'm going to go with the Bears on the road in Washington on Monday night. The Bears offense has had some trouble. They're favored by 4, but I think this is the game where they pick it up. Washington's not good. The defense isn't good, and they're going to struggle with the Bears defense. So I like Matt Nagy to get things under control and beat Washington handily on Monday night. The gold has to be the Rams at the Browns on Sunday night. The spread, I would have expected it to be, 7.5. It's 3. For one of the best teams in the NFL against a Browns team who hasn't looked all there yet, I think that's a slam dunk.
Okay, so that's where you're getting the mortgage out, and that's where you're putting all the money in. Okay,
that's the one.
So there you have it from Jeff. So Donovan, I hope you didn't steal any of your picks.
I know I did.
What are your bronze, silver, gold?
No, we're getting crazy. We're going with the big money, the big lines, and I know the crazy numbers of 22.5 and 21 are going to scare you. don't be afraid. There's a reason why the numbers are that big, because the other teams on the other side are that bad. And did it work out last week with New England in Miami, somewhere where they've struggled? It certainly did. So listen, if I'm betting this year, I'm streaming the Dolphins, and until their quarterback, the Jets, Sam Darnold, is not getting a kissing disease and mono, I'm streaming the Jets. I'm taking whoever they are playing, and I'm not afraid of the big numbers. So I don't know if one is my bronze or one is my silver. I think it's like a photo finish where they're sharing the podium together. But Dallas, New England, against bad teams with bad quarterbacks at home, I like the crazy points. And then the other one is the exact opposite. It's a small line. I will take the Los Angeles Rams at -3, home road, anywhere other than playing New England, because the Los Angeles Rams, last I checked, were the best team in football other than New England last year. Oh, by the way, Cooper Kupp, he is healthy now. Aaron Donald, still a game wrecker. Todd Gurley, maybe not the same player that we expect, but him at 75% is better than 75% of the league.
Absolutely.
Give me the Rams in a tight line, so I'm taking them this week as well.
Okay, all right. So, one of the things I always say, scared money don't make money. So you obviously got to put it.
Do you always say that, though?
That is one of my go-tos.
Do you? In casual conversation, you say that with your friends?
Probably more when fantasy, like daily
on
fantasy.
Like an early date?
On like
is that in your Tinder bio?
Poker,
Scared money
night,
don't make money?
Poker night, when I'm shoving in all the chips in the middle, that's how I try to cover the bluff. But, scared money don't make money. That's where the money's going. We're looking at Rams. It's -3 in Cleveland. Is that correct, guys?
Yeah,
that's the one.
I like it.
That's the
I like
one.
it a lot.
Well, there you guys have it. All right, and that's a wrap here today for this segment with the NFL. Tune in next time. We'll talk more about what's coming up in Week 4.
And that, Wes,
You're
whoa.
here? The hell?
Where'd you come from? How did you get in the studio with us? I thought you were with the Sportsnet guys.
Oh, you know what it is. It's that 21st century teleportation, and now we're here. Now we're here.
Well, if we've got it, we might as well use it, right? You've got some information for us, don't you?
Absolutely. All jokes aside, obviously being in studio with Jeff and with Donovan, we're inspired here as we launch our new show based off of them. We will actually be doing the same thing and making our own picks, as the production team will now have their chance to get in on the betting. Next week, we'll have the winner of this contest come on air to bask in their glory, while the loser will be subjected to a public punishment of your choice. Hit us up on Twitter using the hashtag CentennialPick'em and let us know what creative consequences we should subject our team to. So with that in mind, looking ahead at the slate of games, here are the ones that have us divided. Tennessee at Jacksonville, Minnesota at Oakland, and Carolina at Arizona. Vegas seems to have these picks nailed on their head, as our team seems split down the middle 50-50 on all 3 of these games. Pay attention to these next weekend, as they'll be separating the contenders from the pretenders.
Moving on from North American football to European football. Europe's biggest club competition, the UEFA Champions League, is back. Lionel Messi, Cristiano Ronaldo, Neymar, and Mohamed Salah, all the top players in world football, are back in action in search of European glory. For years, this has been the premier trophy that every major club wants in their trophy cabinet. Here are Mustaq Nizamuddin and Alejandro Gaitan with some facts about the competition.
Here are 5 things you need to know about the 2019-2020 Champions League.
FC Barcelona and Real Madrid are the teams with most appearances in Champions League with 24 apiece. Bayern Munich and Porto had 23, Manchester United 22, and Juventus 6 with 20.
Moving into the football itself, Real Madrid are the team with the most consecutive appearances out of the group stage and into the round of 16. They've been doing it for the last 22 editions of the Champions League. From Belgium and Croatia, Club Brugge and Dynamo Zagreb, respectively, have qualified for the Champions League 6 times, but they've never made it out of the group stage. So both of those teams will be in this year's edition of the competition. Hopefully, one of them can finally get the job done.
If getting to the next round is the job, what about the dream, which is be in the final? And do you know what's the largest victory in the final?
I'm gonna guess 6-0.
Bruh. No, not that much. It was 4-0. Milan against Barcelona in 1994 in Athens. That was the 5th Champions League for Milan, for the Italian team. And Barca didn't win it again until 2006. That was like 12 years after. And they were pretty bad, like 5 or 6 yellow cards. It was a really bad game for Barcelona. And that closed like a really good era for the team.
Well, sometimes it takes a penalty shootout to decide a final, and that's happened 6 times in the Champions League. The first one was in 1996 when Juventus beat Ajax 4-2. The last one, which I hold dear to my heart, was in 2016 when Real Madrid beat Atletico Madrid 5-3. Juventus, Chelsea, Bayern Munich, and Milan have both won and lost a Champions League final in a penalty shootout, so they've seen both sides of the coin.
Yeah, it's like karma. They win and then they lose.
Again, for the 3rd time, I don't know what you mean by that, but it's okay. I'll just take it.
5th, last but not least, there were 80 teams in this season Champions League, at least in the preliminary round. 26 of that teams, they were straight qualified from the leagues, but there were in total 55 teams, sending teams trying to fight for the last 6 spots. Do you know who got one?
No, I don't have a clue.
2019 semifinalist Ajax. That's a really good team.
Well, that's a pretty cool, neat fact, and it just goes to show you how intense this competition really is and the amount of quality that's in it. Thank you guys so much. That was 5 things you need to know, and we'll see you after the group stage.
Opening games of match week 1 had some mouth-watering fixtures, and we witnessed some shocking results. Valencia defeated Chelsea for the first time in a 1-0 win. Barcelona's new stars Antoine Griezmann and Frankie de Jong failed to make an impact on their Champions League debut as they were held to a 0-0 draw. But the most surprising was defending champions Liverpool's 2-0 defeat to Napoli. Liverpool have a perfect record in the English Premier League as they have won 5 out of 5 games. Liverpool and Chelsea and Barcelona will be looking to turn things around, but our very own Toronto FC has turned the tables and are looking more likely to secure a playoff spot. TFC are unbeaten in 9 games and sit in 4th place of the Eastern Conference.
Toronto FC took a big step in their mission to get back into the playoffs as they picked up a very important 3 points at home against the Colorado Rapids this past weekend.
Shuki, and now Altidore into the path of Richie Larea. Endo's there, it's Tsubasa Endo! TFC take the lead! A really well-worked goal, and 8 minutes...
Tsubasa Endo got an early goal after a nice exchange of passes before Spanish midfielder Alejandro Pozuelo made it 2-0 with a cheeky Panenka chip not long afterwards. Keegan Rosenberry pulled one back for Colorado in the 31st minute.
Towards Rosenberry, and Colorado Rapids have one back as they worked it between Nicholson and Rosenberry down the right side. For the spot this season, Kamara against Westberg, who makes the save, and Benazet heads behind for a Colorado corner.
And then the Rapids almost made it 2-2 just moments later, but TFC keeper Quentin Westberg did well to deny Kai Kamara from the penalty spot. Sam Nicholson eventually leveled the game in the 62nd minute, but TFC would find a winner with 20 minutes to go.
That broke the play up was a bad step from Michael Bradley. Here's a chance. Delgado into the path of Gallardo. It's Ericsson Gallardo here for TFC. Pulls it back towards Osorio. And Toronto lead with 20 minutes left to play. Jonathan Osorio, the Canadian.
Ericsson Gallardo was on for just 5 minutes before making a big impact with his assist to Canadian Jonathan Osorio. Toronto FC would go on to win the game 3-2, and Greg Vanney spoke after the game saying he felt it could have been an easy day, but the team got too relaxed after their early 2-goal lead.
There are, some days it felt like it was going to be an easy day, and I think things went pretty easy for us at the beginning, and it looks like we got a little bit relaxed and started to kind of interchange too much, losing our positions, losing sort of our structure on the field that helped us to get to the 2-0. And then they started to find a little bit of their way into the game, and then it became a real battle after that.
Toronto FC needs one more point from their final 3 games to book a place in this season's MLS playoffs. The Reds missed out last year with a poor defense of their title, but have bounced back well this season and are now unbeaten in their last 9 games in all competitions with 5 wins and 4 ties. TFC will be back in action on Wednesday night when they travel to Montreal to take on their rivals in the Canadian Championship Final first leg before a trip to the West Coast to meet Supporters Shield leaders LAFC on Saturday night.
And now, for something a little bit closer to home, Centennial Sports' Shannon Pakulis traveled to Canuck CrossFit in Scarborough to learn a little bit more about CrossFit and what it offers to those taking part in it, as well as shine a little more light on what it offers for female athletes looking to take up the activity.
Hi, my name is Mario. I'm 23 years old, and I've been doing CrossFit for 5.5 years.
So Miriam, what is CrossFit?
So CrossFit by definition is constantly varied functional movements performed at high intensity. So super convoluted definitions, hard to kind of grasp what it is when you give like a formal definition like that. But the way I like to describe it when people ask is it's a combination of weightlifting, gymnastics, and aerobic like training. So a couple years ago, I was about 16, my cousin was doing it just for fitness purposes as a firefighter, and I was introduced to it through her, and I saw all these like super strong ladies lifting weights and doing all these like high skilled movements, and I thought it was like super awesome. And at the time I was playing rugby, so I kind of used it to supplement my fitness. I actually got my first job in high school to pay for my membership at CrossFit because it's a little bit expensive. But yeah, so I was introduced through my female cousin who was doing it for firefighting. Yeah.
And why would you recommend it to women?
So there's something about having a barbell in your hands that kind of distracts you from all of the societal pressures that is placed on you as a woman, and what you should be expected to do, how you should be expected to act. And when I'm training, it kind of distracts me from any of that pressure that I might feel, and it kind of switches your focus from solely like what I should look like and more towards like how I can perform and how strong I can make my body. So it's like a nice healthy distraction from that.
Yeah.
And it's for me, it's giving me so much confidence in other areas of my life as well as a woman. So.
Why did you choose Canuck?
Oh, that's an interesting one. So it's in my area, so it was super convenient school-wise, but I had one friend come over here. I was training at a different gym at the time. I had a friend come over here, and he's like, loved it. So he's like, you gotta come. And as soon as I signed up, it was like instantly like, oh, this place is home. Yeah, like it's just been I've been here for about 4.5 years. Now that I'm in school, I'm kind of back and forth between here and Hamilton, but still it's like Canuck is home. It's always been welcoming. The coaches are awesome. The community is great, and you kind of have like your social life with your training outlet all in one. So it's just been a great place to grow as a human and as an athlete.
Does it make a difference to you having a female teacher / owner of the gym?
Absolutely. So she's definitely served to kind of show what you can do as a female coach, as a mom, as an athlete, and just as a person in general. So it's definitely like, it's nice to have like a strong female lead in your life to kind of show the way. So that's definitely been a game changer.
Nice.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
All right.
Sports tend to have a positive effect on everybody, and hosting a positive initiative are the Toronto Blue Jays with Tournament 12. It's a tournament that the Blue Jays have been organizing since 2013, where top 150 amateur baseball players from all across Canada get a chance to showcase their talents in front of scouts and the media.
Yeah, so this tournament started 6 years ago now, 2013, hosted by both the Blue Jays and many of their alumni, Robbie Alomar, Dwayne Ward among them. Robbie Alomar being the most important of them, obviously where the tournament gets the name T12 from. The tournament has donated 69 players to the MLB first-year player draft over the 6 years of its existence. Most notable of them is Mike Soroka, pitcher for the Atlanta Braves, who was called up last season, who is currently battling for the Cy Young Award in the National League this year as the team pushes towards the playoffs for the second year in a row. So a lot of things to be excited about in the tournament. It's obviously showcasing Canadian talent very well, and there's a lot for us to look forward to in the next week.
We'll be going down there to cover the tournament as well, and that is about time we have today for all the sporting news and action. We'll make sure to bring you more next week right here on Centennial Sports Central. For Karan, Saini, and Branje, goodbye.